Here we are, the last image of this folder 3, and for this one we used a portion of this image to create a frame, and it's just a chance for us to kind of revisit some of the things we've done in the past and maybe do a few things in a different way. To start with, use the rectangle marquee tool, and I very intentionally cut a slight horizontal and with a inclusion of this one cherry tomato over here on the right. Now we want to subtract a piece of this selection. You can use this button to do that, or you can simply press the Option key down as you click and drag a shape like this, kind of even on all four sides. And if you're not happy with that, you can just deselect and start over. We wanted to add the cherry tomato really just for fun, so we get a chance to use our Add To button, which is this button. Or, if you remember, there's a keyboard equivalent, you just press the Shift key, and that's Add To. Now watch as I add this cherry tomato in. If you'll start way over here with the Shift key down, imagine that the cherry tomato is inside of a box. As you start at the corner of the box and pull to the opposite corner, you can get a pretty good selection of most of that tomato. Now to get back over here, I'll start in this corner. And whoops, if you do that, just undo. I forgot to hold the Shift key down. Click and drag and start from this side, and as you make it over to this side, you can add some more of the cherry tomato. Now it looks like I kind of messed up that side, so I'm going to try that again. Holding the Shift key down, there you go, that's a little better. And I've included some of this. Now you can, if you feel like you're off target, like if you start too far, holding the Shift key down, remember you can reach over and hold the space bar, and the space bar will let you move this circle so that you can better include portions that you want. And it's not any good for making a non-perfect an asymmetrical ellipse like we have here on this tomato. It's not a perfect ellipse, but with 2 or 3 tries, holding the Shift key down, and then as you start over there, if you realize I'm a little off target, just hold the Command key down and you can move it so that you can get a better target there. And there's really not a good reason why you can't get that almost perfect. Okay, and you can see I can maybe even do a little better myself here. I'll continue to hold the Shift key down and see if I can get a little bit more of this cherry tomato right over here. There you go. And so you can do a really good job of it. Now we've got this as our selection. If I copy it, Command C, and then come over to the other picture that we're using, the one called Landscape and Barn, you can paste that, Command V, right on top, and you can see it come in as a layer. And here we are right on top of that. Now I'm going to move it kind of way over to the side here like this. I know you think I'm losing part of the image. I'm not really losing it. It's still there. But I want to make sure I include the barn. I just use my crop tool to extend my canvas over like this. Now you can see the rest of that tomato is still there. Okay, I'll commit to that. Back down here on the background layer, I'll click right here, and I'm going to add a mask. My mask is way down here in the corner, but I'm just going to click and add a mask so that I now have a mask on this layer. You can see it way over here to the right. What I want to do next is I'll use my rectangular marquee, and working on the mask, make sure it's selected. So click there. You want to see that little white border around it, this little guy here. You want to see that. Okay. Make sure you're on the mask and draw a mask selection right here. Now what we want to do is fill the background with, we want to fill the background with black paint. Okay, so I'm on this mask here. I want to take my black brush and actually want to default my colors here. I see I got a black background there. That's not a problem. We'll fix that too. And I want to paint over. I just want to paint black. Oh, yeah, I got to inverse. Shift Command I. Now I've got my selection. You want to inverse so that you've got this selection, and you'll paint over that. Stay outside. Just stay. You don't even have to worry about it. Just paint right over it. That's the only part that's selected, and you can just get rid of all that stuff back there. Okay. Now remember, I just did that with the mask. The image is still whole. It does have a black background that I kind of messed up on there, but that's all right. We'll fix that. Okay, now looking at my mask, I can see I missed a couple little spots here. I don't know that that really matters, but I'll go ahead and fix that. Remember, you can Option key on the mask and see little mistakes like that. All right, now, so we've got the frame layer, and I want to just deselect here, so I got nothing selected. We're back up here on the frame layer. I'm going to double click on that preview and add some bevel and a little drop shadow to this frame, starting to really look like a frame now. I'm going to click on the word bevel and emboss, and I'll add just a little bit more in this panel here by changing my size. And you can see the frame kind of changing there on it. Click on drop shadow if you want to create a little bit more of a drop shadow onto the background. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, I'll add next I'll add a background layer. I'm going to use my fill adjustment button that's here at the bottom of my layers panel, and I'll click on that and add a solid color. Now don't worry if it comes out on top. I just need to reorder my layers here. I should have done that before I did that. Now you can see I just moved the color back down to here. You can change that color. You don't have to be satisfied with the first choice there. You can sample off of your picture and get these beautiful background colors for your background. I don't know, maybe something like that's good. I mean, that's always adjustable. You can change that anytime you want to. All right, so now I've got frames looking good. This image is looking good. I'm going to click on the image, the barn image there. It's that layer there. And I'm going to add an adjustment layer above that. There's an adjustment panel right here. And I want to add a hue and saturation adjustment layer to this. Now I'm going to make sure to apply that to only the layer below. Or you can click right there and it'll adjust only the layer below, which should be this picture, not the background. And there are some default settings here. If you click on sepia tone, you can see a nice sepia tone effect there. You can do that manually as well. There's a little colorize button right there where you can add that color too. Okay, so now I've got a nice sepia tone over that photograph there. Let's take a look back at the layers here. You can see there's that adjustment layer that I just added. It's only applied to the photograph below, which has also got a mask. All right, back up here, I want to extend my canvas. So I'll use the crop tool here, and I'll make this a little bigger. That adjustment layer is helping us out a little bit here. It's gonna expand that color as soon as I commit, and you'll see our color extends on out that way. Now you can continue to crop and do anything you want to here, but next what I want to do is I want to go back to, well, first let's save this. We ought to go ahead and save it. Command S to give it a name. and I'll call it framed photo, something like that. Right, now that you've changed the name of it, you can go back to your Open Recent and find the vegetables picture, which is still available right here. Okay, I do want to deselect that and use the whole thing. I'll select all, Command A, copy, Command C, and really I'm done with it now, so I'm just going to go ahead and close it, Command W. I'll paste it, Command V, back out here. Now it's really big. It's much bigger than the other image that we were using. So I'll just use my Show Transform controls, and I'll squeeze it down so it's much smaller. Just going to put it in here. Maybe make it a little bigger than that. I'm kind of thinking maybe half the height of this frame. Okay, I'll double click there, so now I've got that. I also want to go to Open Recent and go back to the landscape with barn. Okay, since we did a save as, this is the landscape with barn. I want to select all, Command A, copy, Command C, close, Command W, and then come over here and paste Command V. Okay, and it too is a bit too big, so I'll use my Shift key as I make this a little bit smaller, kind of making it so that it and the vegetables picture are about the same size. In fact, I'm going to zoom in just to double check that. And I'll make this one a little bit smaller. Again, holding the Shift key down, just so I don't distort either of those images. And I'll apply that. Now, you can select both of these if you click in your Layers panel here, Shift, and here. Now I've got them both with the Show Transform controls turned on. I can resize them while I hold the Shift key down and really make them almost perfect match for the height of the other picture. In fact, I'm going to scoot them over just a little bit. With them both selected, I think I'll double click. Let's see, is that going to work? Oh, I got to apply first. And then I'll double click and open up this layer style. I'm going to add a little glow behind that, maybe an outer glow. Okay, and I ended up with just one of them selected, but that's okay. I'll try to remember my settings here. I'll make the size maybe 10 pixels. That looks pretty good. Okay, now I'll do the same thing up here. And outer glow. Click on the words outer glow, and I'll make that 10 pixels. Okay, so now I've got both of them with a little glow there, and turn off my Show Transform control so I can see what I've got. Looks all right. Okay. Next, then I'll just add my type. For this, I think I'll leave it with white type. Let's see if it'll let me do this in white. Looks like it's going to. Now you could sample off that. I was thinking maybe I could sample off of that glow and get a kind of a yellow color. That's awful green. Let's see if I can do any better. There's a little better. Still kind of green. You can also, remember, you can also just pick that color from within here as well. Let's go down here and a little bit of yellow. It needs to be light enough that you can really see the type against that background. I'll use my regular horizontal type tool, and I'll give this nice font has switched on me, so I'm going to change that back. I think I've been using Myriad. That looks pretty good. I'll maybe copy that over just using the Option key. Go back to the type tool, triple click. This is a composite image with frame. Transform. And sepia. Something like that. Okay. Just give it a good name so that you'll remember what you did when you finish it all up. Right, and then looks like it's a little big at the top. I'll just change my cropping a little bit here. And maybe a little bit on this side. Commit. And there's what we end up with. Be sure to rename your layers and you'll be finished.